Hello everyone and welcome back to the review. This time we have a very special secret guest. You're gonna really love him. I'd like to introduce Will Meteos Hartman. You lost your mic thing.
Not anymore. Welcome.
Hey, I'm glad you could join us on this episode after you've joined us.
You've been watching Worlds?
I've seen a couple games.
Okay.
Cool.
I saw SKT win in Season 3.
Nice.
Well, you're mostly up to date.
There's a lot of odds to catch up on.
We got Damwon versus IG for this game. Group D, the two teams that got out. And this was a pretty close game to them. So we'll go and start rolling on this.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite game of the entire group stage, not gonna lie, because there was a play in this that is just such a beautiful fiesta, but at the same time, it's a fiesta done by the best teams. That just gives it that extra.
You're permitted to speak now.
I can talk?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So, LeBlanc ban, that's not something you see too often. Why do you think they did that?
Because Rookie is a G, so there's 3 mid lane bans.
Yeah, Rookie's scary. I guess you can mostly break it down to that. I also think that maybe it has something to do with what Damwon wants to pick in this series, but I'm not quite sure. Like, you can say LeBlanc's a good matchup into Akali, and that's why they did it.
That's true. The chains do reveal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As well as you can land your W in the Shroud if you ever do. If the chain lands and then the Shroud goes off, or the root goes off. Shy gets Jace again, which I think he got it twice on this day, and I don't want to spoil the game, but he kind of slapped.
I felt like he did not slap. So
I remember, you were talking about this.
Yeah, like, because everybody was talking up about how good the Shy was, and he gets a big lead, but I think he misplaced significantly. I actually think that from his standards, he would personally think that was one of his poorest games, just based on how many shock blasts he misses in lane.
Okay, we'll make sure to keep an eye on that. I know, Meteos, you had an eye on Canyon's Lee Sin.
Oh yeah, I was watching all the previews this game. It was...
I hear he might be the best jungler. Some people say he might be the best one at Worlds. What's your take on that? I have not looked at his route, so I can't say.
He definitely could be. He does, a lot of good things.
Right? Season MVP.
Yeah. I mean, he's rank 1 in solo queue. I think that he's extremely good jungler. As far as saying he's definitively the best, it's hard to say because I think all the Korean junglers are really good, Tarzan, Clid, and Canyon all have been playing very well.
I was really surprised when people were talking about like top laners and stuff for the Korean scene, because I always felt, or at least this year, it felt like it was much more about their mid jungle. Like even Chovy and Showmaker receive a lot of attention, and as good as Naguri is, and I'm blanking on Griffin, Sword and Doran, and then even Khan, like it still feels like way more attention should be around the mid and jungle. On the draft though, IG grabs Syndra, technically a flex pick, as well as the Rek'Sai into Lee. Pretty common, quote unquote counter pick we've been seeing.
I actually have a question about the jungle for you, Meteos, that a lot of the Korean junglers are just new. They have 1 to 2 years of pro experience, yet they are so darn good. A lot of the other regions, most of their better junglers have a lot of years of experience that they've been playing for a ton of time. So what are you seeing from these players that are able to pick up the game at such a quick speed and play pro, because they're up to par in every single area and even better mechanically?
That's definitely a good point. I think that jungle is a role that has changed a lot over the years. It's a role where, going from season to season, it might not look the same at all. And I think that specifically in 2018 was when they got rid of Tracker's Knife. Mm-hmm. So I think that jungle had a pretty massive shift at that point, because up until then, jungle was kind of like, just a support role that's played in the jungle. It was all about vision control. And while the role still does do some vision control, and it is supportive in the sense of getting your lanes ahead, it kind of like has become a more mechanical role, especially with champs like Lee Sin and Talia and stuff coming out. So I think that, for junglers who've been used to just kind of being like this Jarvan Sejuani ward bot for years, it can be kind of hard to switch styles into something that's like a lot more aggressive. So I think that players who don't have to unlearn so many years of a different play style might be able to just come in with like a fresh perspective and, you know, just learn quicker that way.
With mechanics, it'd be pretty fun to do so.
So this draft, Jackie Love ended up on Syndra. What was really interesting in the second phase, they did the Nautilus takeaway, but then that gives Leona the Damwon, which is still like a better matchup, I think. So it's one of those things where I think you sort of handicap yourself because you're like, aha, we have to split up the Kai'Sa Leona, or excuse me, Kai'Sa Nautilus, but then you still just get counterpicked. And I really don't like taking away something and not banning what it's bad against.
Oh, you know, we were talking about the support pick in the Splice matchup. They could have last picked Leona. That's a great tank.
Oh, Thresh?
Yeah.
Sure.
You get flayed every
You
time.
get flayed out of E, but you can also...
But the thing is, I feel like Leona is so tanky.
She is.
She's unreal tanky.
And
after those buffs to her W.
And you can do... It sucks pre-6, but post-6, because you can just ult the Thresh, and while he's ulted, you get your EQ off and 100 to 0 him in some matchups.
I would have loved to see that better than Rakan.
Yeah. Anyways, back on this point, the other thing that was really weird was kind of the last pick, Orianna for rookie, and then not being able to use that very like super effectively versus Akali. It has a good early matchup, I think, and being able to like harass it. And then, yeah, their bot lane, I just don't think Jackie Love should be on Syndra, really.
I guess Blitz was also an option against the Thresh. We saw that matchup last time too, and the Blitz kind of bodied the Thresh there.
What game are we talking about here?
We get carried away, man. Blitz is a fun champion to look at.
Why are we talking about... We finished the Splice...
Let's go.
Well, we couldn't think of tank supports back then, and now we can.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys watch the Splice video, you want to go back, and you're watching this one too. Now we have extra context.
What we can do now is we combine the views of both videos into one, and then each one has those numbers.
Yeah, actually, we should just lump both these together. We'll see.
On to the Rift.
Okay.
So, looking at the team comps.
So the first thing is, actually, because I saw this, they're going to go cheese top lane with the Nautilus and the Jace. And it works.
Yeah, they get a flash, right?
No,
Or
they get a kill. So they actually, because this is exactly my criticism. The Shy ends up first blooding Naguri and gets a longsword in this lane. And you watch him, because I want Graham to follow what the Shy does, and you'll see that he actually just messes up significantly for what should have been a game over from this play.
Does Vladimir scale Q already? Oh, he did. Wait, can you go back to see if he had Q scaled before the Nautilus?
30 seconds until
Yeah,
He didn't scale. I think when I was watching this, it looked to me like he judged that he could get out without taking pool.
Yeah,
which was for sure greedy. And one thing that I think is really cool about this play.
Oh, so he didn't level it before the hook land, and at this point, all the CC is there.
Still not level.
Now he'd take it. So I guess he just thought he could get out.
I can understand not wanting to take pool in this matchup because it just feels pretty doomed, but
The second stun from Nautilus is just a big deal.
yeah. If he flashed earlier instead of he created a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and so something that I really like about, this early game play is that there's a little bit of, history, some beef coming into Worlds with these two top laners because there's a lot of hype around both of them. I think these are two of the top laners that are for sure in the conversation for just best top in the world right now. And the Shy had an interview kind of just saying he doesn't think Naguri's playstyle is like that good. He thinks he plays extremely disrespectfully.
He's an inter.
Right, and so basically this is just him kind of being like, yeah, you're an inter. Let me show everyone how much of an inter you are. And he did int.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there was the swap of Keystones picked because the Shy was flaming him for taking Klepto in every matchup, and then I think he
admitted it.
He admitted it in an interview somewhere where he was like, actually, it's pretty good in some of them.
He admitted it for Jay specifically.
Yeah, he admitted it for Jay specifically, and he takes it this game.
Yeah, so this game, Nuguri is actually running Phase Rush, and the Shy is running Klepto, so it's kind of a cool storyline in top lane.
I really like how he wards the brush right away, just making sure that the Jace does not get to play brush control. But watch this first shock weapon. I'm pretty sure this is already when he starts missing. So he's gonna ding 2 first and then jumps. Right? Like that's how the laning phase goes. Now the trade is even. Vlad's fine.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, we're not gonna be able to watch this the entire time because I know Canyon makes some stuff happen and we'll have to jump around. But I can see what you're saying, where by his own standard of being like the best top laner in the world, missing a shot blast like that is pretty important for lane
Because
pressure.
if I'm judging myself playing that lane like the Shy, I played it the best out of my mind. But I'm looking at what he can do, and he can do better than this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, to be fair though, I think, you can't hit every skill shot. When it's two good players, you're gonna hit some, you're gonna miss some. Like, it's a lot of mind games. That one, Naguri just kind of ran in a straight line, and the Shy waited, trying to like see if he was gonna juke, and he just sort of completely just right-clicked and
Yeah, I mean, you
Didn't juke.
had said that he missed a bunch over the course
Yeah,
of the lane.
like
phase.
it's the entire lane. So it's not just that one. Because there was a lot of times where I think they go for dives on him, and because Vlad is not low because of the missed shock blast, they don't have the play available.
that's fair.
Yeah, that one right there was mostly dissuaded because they couldn't get the wave in time, and Ning didn't want to sit around and wait the entire time when his whole bot side's up. So I can understand Ning backing off there, even if he did land that shock blast, just being like, I need to do other things.
For this day of games, I believe IG swapped their jungler back, right? They were
they were using Ning.
Brought back Ning.
Yeah, which I think makes sense for a lot of people. The mid lane matchup, which we saw there, Rookie, like, the Orianna is really annoying for Akali, from my understanding early, because we're talking about these AoE, you don't need to target the Akali in her Shroud. She also has good auto trades and advantage. Oh, missed a bot lane play. Oh, that was the sick kick that you wanted to talk about.
No, that wasn't the kick yet.
it?
'cause he's
Oh,
on
not
level
yet,
4.
yeah.
But this was a
She
well-played
just
game.
used stun, so Syndra just used stun, and it was perfect time actually.
Kenny has a nice flash in front of the hook here.
Yeah,
So
that was sick.
one thing that I think is really cool about watching Canyon play is he's a pretty patient player as far as the way he plays. He's, from what I gather, he's not really the kind of guy who's just running around to like every single lane going for immediate ganks all the time. He just patiently cleared his entire jungle on Lee Sin, which is, not super standard. And then for a lot of his ganks, he actually like waits around for a while looking for that opportunity where he can go in. And so right there, like you're saying, Syndra used the stun, and so they just knew that they could get the kill. So he's very calculated.
So I forget what happens. I think this is an opportunity to talk about the mid lane thing. Just the thing that I didn't like about Rookie ending up on Syndra was what it did to Jackie Love as well, because I think you can sort it. The Syndra is a little bit more volatile of a matchup versus the Akali, whereas this is a much easier matchup, but it felt like greedy to say, okay, Jackie Love, and I'm not saying Rookie was the one who made this decision, but like it felt like over prioritizing a better matchup for Rookie at the cost of Jackie Love's matchup, because I just don't think Jackie Love is. There's a lot of like mages in the bot lane have done terribly so far this tournament. I think they're like 1-13 or 2-13.
The players.
Well, I just don't think, like, a lot of them are just 80 carry mains, and they're really good at 80 carries. So just like Reckless, I said it before the tournament even started, I hope I don't see him on things like Karma and Garen. And then like they int the first week on them. Same thing happened with Sneaky and like all these people where it's like, if you just did what you were best at, you probably would have done better. And this is another time where I'm like, yes, it got Rookie a better matchup flexing it, but like, I'm not sure it was worth it. Because bot lane's what really gets kind of blown open here the most.
Right, I think there's a couple things you have to look at when you're deciding to go for a mage, because there is the player's proficiency, which I think is, like, shouldn't be understated, since if most AD carry players, they've kind of played the exact same thing for their entire career.
Their
as long as
entire
they've been-
lives.
Right, you play a champion that wants to just farm up as much as humanly possible, and then you right-click everybody. And when you're on a mage, it's a fully different style. With most roles over the years, mid, support, jungle, top, you've been on different kinds of champions. Sometimes you play tanks, sometimes you play ranged champions. Sometimes you're carry, sometimes you're support. But AD carries, they pretty much have always done the same thing. So I think that a lot of the time they're not as ready to play these new champs as they might think they are.
As well as the fact that like you can probably learn the laning phase and some of the matchups relatively quickly on a champion, and maybe because of how scrims are, that kind of biases you to think that like I'm ready to play this on stage, and then you get into like longer games or slower games where like now you're playing mid lane. Jackie Love's playing Syndra mid at 25 minutes, and like you're not looking for the same plays.
This is one of the most insane plays. This is what I was talking about, where I think Canyon shows a ton of patience because he knows the vision that they have very well. He's stepping out of the bush here just to get as good of an angle as he can. And I was watching this on Canyon's Pro View. He's sitting there just kind of like hovering his Q for an extremely long time. Because this is by no means a guaranteed play. If Syndra just happens to step up when you shoot your Q, the whole play is gone. But Canyon trusts himself to know that he can make this work.
And I like how you pointed out as well, like the length of his ward hops are super short. Like he always puts it behind the person where they're gonna be, not like, all the way back and then you have to walk forward again.
Right. Like I have so much respect for Canyon going for this play because you're against Syndra and Nautilus. Those champs have very strong CC that comes out really quick.
I think the angle is actually really impressive because normally you just have your bot lane shove and then you get the dive and go from there. But against Rek'Sai that can easily track you or counter gank you, just keeping movement to a minimum and not having to get the play from their other side, I think makes it that much safer even though he trades.
Yeah. So Canyon's a beast, but while we were hovering, around your point, there's a kill on the top side. Let's go back and look at this one as we roll it out. Naguri got a little bit of an advantage on the Shy for a moment before the Shy got his second back off, and now he's TP'd back in the lane.
Oh, this was sick. Did you guys see this one?
Yeah, this was the one that was on the broadcast.
He just stomps him, right? I think the Shy ends up switching to Hammer, and then just...
Yeah. That's one of those things where Naguri was like, I'm going to heal a lot from my alt-Q combo, but he didn't heal enough.
Yeah, that was definitely just, a limit test gone wrong.
Yeah.
Because he initiated that play. He didn't have to go for it, but he did.
And I mean, in hindsight, it looked really dumb. But I can understand that if you actually live that and you get your Q ult off and maybe the Jace doesn't slap you right back, you kind of get control of that lane a little bit. And that can be really important when you're falling behind this much. It's just... I don't know. Like it's something where like
I think he could have even killed him if he actually hit Ties of Blood after the Hemo play instead of before, because he was pooled, I think, hoping to do something to him, but there was just nothing.
Yeah.
Either way, solo kill for the Shy. And now the Shy's itemization here is a little weird to me because I would think that if you're in the situation where you have a pretty huge advantage on your opposing laner, you're really going to want to like try to stomp him into the ground.
You don't think Tyr can do that?
It's less so than more damage.
Yeah.
I think that if you just go for like a quick Yomu's, you would have like a lot more pressure on him. The Executioners, I think that's
pretty good
core against Vlad. Mm-hmm. But the Tyr, that seemed a little weird to me, just because he's in such an advantaged state.
Very smart flash bending. They're not being greedy. I mean, yeah, you can land the Q and then knock up, or like then you can knock up his second Q, but I think you don't want to get baited into a fight in the river there where you're clearly outnumbered.
Right, I think that Canyon does a really good job this game of playing around to losing Vladimir as well. Pretty soon, right here, we're actually going to see him force out Jace's flash here. So Vlad is 2 levels down, and they know Rek'Sai's on this side of the map. So this is a pretty risky play to be going for if you're Canyon, but he's just so good at knowing that range of vision and being really patient. So here, he's able to get Jace's flash, which helps Nuguri so much in this matchup. Having flash advantage can just completely change a matchup.
And I think you saw him in... Oh, hold on, we'll get back to this in a second. I think Nuguri still dies here because Rookie makes the roam up, but this allows Showmaker to start... I think Showmaker gets a triple kill at the end of this. It's so good how he goes in and out like that to keep baiting them forward. And then that was a big mistake by Ning, but that's Ning in a nutshell.
Yeah,
he's super aggro.
He's an aggressive player.
I love this. Goes for the cleanup kill knowing Rookie is going to have a much harder time getting out.
That's brutal.
Yeah. That's so smart by let's take it all the way back.
All early game for IG is over after that play.
Yeah, it's super gross. Even further back. Give me Canyon's first flash on the force on the flash by the Shy. Wow. It's a little further back.
I really want to take it back.
Well, because I want to show how he backs off here because he's not sure if Ning is really shadowing him, and then thinks that he probably isn't. Like he gives it a moment's beat before going for the counter, to see if Ning shows in lane or on the ward if he's coming through lane. And once he knows he's not coming through lane, he knows he has to come behind the wall. And he just, I feel like, has a great job of knowing where and when they can be in trouble.
And not face checking that too, because that was no information, just pure instinct.
Yeah.
Plus, pretty much perfect spacing on the the vision from Jace.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal play from Canyon.
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, he's sick. And then this is just really smart. If you fight the rookie right here, the Shy is waiting to re-engage, and so you just go and kill him.
Right. I'm pretty sure the Shy did not know that bush was warded. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have been standing there.
Yeah, but he was like, oh, rookie has flash, rookie has heal. If he goes on me, I'll get a heal, and then Showmaker cuts just goes deeper early. It was sick.
So now pretty much top is back to top is stabilized, jungle's fine, mid is over, and bot lane's in trouble.
I
for
think
IG.
I think top is maybe okay because Naguri only got an assist in that and is still down 30 CS.
He's down almost 2k gold still.
Yeah, I think top is
a bit of a disadvantage, but
the mid lane matchup being over is the big problem because now you're winning 2 out of your 3 lanes super hard.
Well,
yeah,
you have no sums top, and Akali still has hers, so she can just keep roaming, doing whatever she wants.
something that is so impressive to me about this is Damwon going into that play was pretty much disadvantaged across the board. Like, they're hard losing top, their jungle was down in XP, and their mid laner was being pressured in that matchup, and they still managed to come out ahead just through pretty much good reads and mechanical outplays.
We should watch this.
Yeah, this is another, their bot lane was their one strength on the map. Now they have multiple, and yeah, you just see IG get super outplayed again here in the bot lane. So much of competition these days is about skill checks. This is sick. They get Jackie Love's flash out, only costing them the cleanse and the ignite. It does burn a stopwatch to get rid of the ult too, but they have such a health advantage. Jackie Love's below half, Baolan's basically at half, and so when Ning comes in here, it's actually still really difficult because they don't have any follow-up. They have no ult on any of their people.
Look what Barrel is going to do to Ning right now. He's going to ruin this man's career in one play.
Ooh.
Oh, dodges the knockup.
The Unburrow missed, yeah.
Waits for the stun, and then Zanya's that.
Good play. This was, I don't know if I can say it's the first, but it's been uncommon this tournament to see Rek'Sai with Conquer. Pretty much everyone on Rek'Sai has switched back to Hail.
Yeah.
Mostly just for the better ganks, better early game. And so I'm not necessarily sure that it would have made all the difference in that play, but I think it certainly would help more than Conquer.
Do you like it? Do you like the Hail of Blades over the Conqueror?
I do, yeah. I think that it's just stronger, especially your ganks. You can pretty much get all of your Q autos off during the knockup and then your E before they can really have time to flash out or anything like that.
I used to play it before people were running Conqueror on it, and then I switched back to Conqueror just so that I can, because I guess this is solo queue, so it's different, but so I can run boots for free, just all that. But I guess the early skirmish power is just too valuable in pro.
Yeah, mid lane's over as soon as Showmaker's able to get an early Gunblade too before Rookie hits his first item.
It's a really early Gunblade.
It's nuts how fast that is.
I saw this. The actual goal discrepancy is not that big because it's just that Rookie is delaying his purchases a lot. He actually he's gonna have enough to have a Ludens by the time that Showmaker just has a Sword Shoes and Gunblade.
Yeah, but he's up 1,000 gold.
Right now.
Yeah, but I'm saying that should be a matchup where you're up 300 to 500 gold and hitting your power spikes first. When Showmaker gets a Gunblade before you get a Ludens, your poke doesn't stick and you don't even poke that hard. So this is super doomed for Rookie when the way that you win this matchup is being able to harass through Shroud, and now he heals all harass.
So I actually don't even think the harass is the problem because when you watch Showmaker do this, 2 Qs, wave is dead.
Well, that too, yeah.
Yeah, so he just does whatever he wants because the shove is too quick. Let's see.
I really have to question the Shy's item choice.
2.
Yeah, onto MarkZ.
What is this?
Yeah, he's not close to his next item, and he's just really not that strong right now. I think it's possible that these fights could have went more into IG's favor if he was itemized a little bit more aggressively.
You're the one person on your team who's doing well, and you are going to more of a survival build.
So look at that. Another Shock Blast is missed, and now you're losing the 2v2 on the lane that you got first blood that is supposed to win the game. The responsibility was on him, and I'm not seeing it be delivered.
Ning also split targets there, and that was a big mistake because maybe they can't kill Naguri, but the pool was at least out. You could have tunneled on top of where Naguri was going to unpool, and maybe you burst him. The fact that he went on Canyon, who then kind of just kicked him against the wall to CC him and gave Naguri a target to kite back into, was a big mistake.
Yeah, I think that you know, with those junglers items, Canyon had the Tabby finished already.
Yep.
And Tabby with skirmishers, it's so strong for the 1v1. So
Do you think they can win that at all for IG? Because I feel like if you can't win 2v2s in the top lane at this point, like the game's basically over.
I would think based on the champions that IG should probably have an edge, especially given how well the lane went for the Shy. But
the item choices.
yeah, like the items just seem really weak. And now he's picking up a Phage, so he's pretty much at least. I think the soonest he can complete any of those items would be like the Manamune at 1,500 gold from now. So he's just not really close to getting any big spike. I think his items are really all over the place this game.
Yeah, I can see that's a really good point. That top skirmish is tough, and they split targets and whatnot. But he would, if he just went all one damaged item, like if he finished the Dirk into something, you know, like maybe you can actually win that fight even harder, but not the case. And now it's just like, oh, the Rift Herald play top, get first turret.
Yeah, so this is really interesting to me because Damwon is pretty much using a lot of resources to help Nuguri get restabilized in this matchup because, at least from my perspective, I would think that playing bottom here would make the most sense since Damwon is pretty ahead bot lane in a super, super volatile matchup. I think both of these supports can pretty much force a fight onto the other bot lane whenever they want. And so it's just a good job by Damwon's bot lane to be able to soak that pressure. You know, they have the advantage, so they want to press it, but you know, they're disciplined enough to recognize, hey, Rek'Sai is probably sitting here, so let's just let our top lane get back in the game.
Do you think they feel like the only thing that could hurt them is Jace if he pops off, now that their other two carries are fed? So as long as the Shy is contained, they'll be fine everywhere else? I mean, there's 3 bounties on this team.
I can understand that line of thinking where you basically have won the other 2 lanes, so let's go win/stabilize the third. But to Meteos' point, when you have a 3-0 bot lane,
You want to play to the strength.
you want to play to
of
them.
course.
And so like it also takes a lot of like understanding of Nuclear and Barrel to play weak side when they're the stronger 2v2 bot lane at this point, because you're not going to get any help. So
In my experience, no player ever wants to do that.
that is a really hard thing to convince a player to do. Like, hey, I know that we can probably keep brute forcing dives on their bot lane, but you're going to have to, you know, nut hug your turret while we go top to do something else. Like, that's hard to convince people to do. And I think, you know, as much as Nuclear and Barrel have been criticized a little bit this tournament for being the weaker members, like that's still an impressive thing.
Yeah, so one thing that I look at when there's a team like Damwon, especially when there's so much talk about Nuguri and the way he plays, is, you know, he kind of has this unorthodox play style where he plays klepto everything. He just plays extremely aggressively to the point where, you know, the Shy is calling him disrespectful. And that play style, you can't really make it work if your team doesn't have your back.
Yeah.
You notice Canyon spends a lot of time going around top lane, and what that does is it opens up your bottom lane to having to absorb some pressure, because a lot of the time, if one team ganks top, the other team, if they're not ready to respond, they're just going to immediately gank bot. And so if you're also trying to play aggressive bot, you're just going to die and feed.
I think that's actually the best take on the Guri's style right now, in that this doesn't work if the entire team is not on board. It's not like any player can just randomly say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to be a klepto player now, get my back, guys. Like, it has to be premeditated.
Well, that also speaks to why this was such a good game for Canyon, because he not only went top, I think 3 or 4 times by this point to stabilize it, but both of the times he went bottom were successful kills. Whereas Ning mostly went top as well, because it's a carry versus carry matchup, and that's where junglers tend to go. But Ning went bot lane and I think once or twice and never found anything for it. So like Canyon / the laners for Damwon outperformed really hard.
Definitely, and
Cleaver
I play a lot of Rek'Sai, and Ning's Rek'Sai is leaving a bit to be desired here. He's going for the red smite, which, you know, it's okay, but I think blue smite is much better for the champion. Not going Hail of Blades, so it's just, I feel like he could be doing more
Like
in this situation.
His build, you can argue, was better for like extended long fights, but it felt like they wanted, like based off all their laners are bursts aside for rookie. Like you kind of want to just like unburrow, do your full combo while someone else is doing damage and just insta-give people.
His build is done at this point. Like, you're going maybe Sterax Gauge and the game is done. Like, he's not going to make any more money this game.
Right, and then this was a another instance of Canyon coming top because I don't really know why he's going top here, honestly. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a necessary play, but they just put a lot of value over, enabling Nuguri to play in the way that he wants to.
Do you think that a big problem with that is that, yes, Jackie Love, because I know you didn't like that Jackie Love was playing the Syndra, and he might be good enough to play it in lane, but I think a big problem is none of these ADs playing mages even know how to transition them out of laning phase.
Right, I think that's a good point. So, I don't remember if I touched on it earlier, but another issue that I had.
I said that.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I said that exact point about playing Syndra in mid lane at like 25 minutes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you were talking just about laning phase at the time.
So
yeah, your point.
What I was
100%.
saying,
Yeah.
I think the secondary issue with running mages bot is that you can end up with some really whack-looking team comps. So I think that generally Syndra and Ori kind of fill the same role on the team. You're the AoE control mage, and I don't know if you really need two of them because if you replace that Syndra with a traditional AD carry, I think you have a much more rounded team comp. The MR buys are a little bit less effective for Damwon. You have a little bit more sustained damage. So
yeah, I mean, Ori is also like you take some of Syndra's potential kill threat and burst and put it into like defensive capabilities. And who are you really happy to be shielding and empowering in this team comp? Like honestly, it's Jace, right? Like he's
Conquer Rek'Sai.
Oh, you're right. My bad. I stand corrected. Okay, I'm dropping the point.
Nice.
No, I
We
think
learn quickly here.
I definitely think that they would prefer to have.
You used Pool before.
Yeah. I guess that's why Canyon's hovering top. Just
Maybe he just doesn't trust him.
yeah, he's just like I need to babysit this guy.
Guys, I know we have a big lead bot, but this guy will run it down if I'm not up there.
He's like, listen, bot, you guys are doing great, and I trust you.
You know
who I don't trust?
How much
My
of it
top laner.
could it be from the pre-game talk between the Shy and Nuguri being like, listen, he figured out that our top laner is actually an inter. We need to make sure that he doesn't exploit him.
That could be a factor.
Maybe. I mean, it also feels like the only play IG can really go for. Like, if you have a really good setup in the bot lane, you can turn a kill onto Nuclear or Barrel. But it still feels like the easiest play for IG is top. And I guess Canyon's just prioritizing covering those kinds of plays.
Yeah, I think another perspective, I guess, could be that, if Lee Sin goes bottom and Rek'Sai matches him bottom, Rek'Sai is going to know Lee's there. And then that does create a lot of space for the Shy to just play extremely aggressive onto Nuguri. And it seems like, in even numbers, the top lane matchup is going to go IG's favor.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you can see IG is still putting up a fight. Like, they did find that kill as the wave kind of went in. And that's sort of buying them a little bit of space. Now Showmaker is in the 1v1 versus the Jace, and Vlad's playing into the Orianna. So they're kind of offsetting their matchups now so they don't have to quite play around the weak Vlad as much because Ori's kill threat's way lower. So I think it's also smart lane assignments from this point onwards from Damwon.
Yeah, while the gold is close here, it just seems really hard for IG to actually get anything going because that's one thing that I love. I mean, I know I come back to this all the time, but just having that frontline tanky champion on your team that you get from Leona, it's so valuable because even if Leona just straight walks into all 5 members of IG, as long as he procs his Aftershock, he's literally flashing into 5 people right here, but they just don't have the damage to kill him. Okay.
It's okay.
Cut to tape, redo that one from the top.
All right, good thing these are live, but no, like your point stands. Like he lived a super long time. We'll go back and cover the rest of this play. He lived way longer than any other support aside for Alistar probably
the
would.
cue from Canyon at the end.
Okay, so let's break this play down.
So let's see how
Barrel.
tanky she is.
What
Barrel,
an
you're
idiot,
supposed to have
dude.
my back.
It's just a little ambitious because there's no follow up really. Like Nuguri doesn't have flash. Like that's a sick play if Nuguri has flash to drop a 5-minute ult E combo. He doesn't have flash, so
Right,
he can't
I think
follow
that
up.
the Shy had a really nice hammer form E there.
Yeah.
Because I think that Beryl was kind of expecting to be able to kite back, into the banana bush, get back toward his team. But the Shy made it so he has to, the knockback made it so Leona would have to walk through all of IG again just to get back to his team. So he ended up very out of position. And maybe not being able to die is a hyperbole, but he is very tanky. Did give him the confidence to go for that.
Yeah, Canyon had a nice play there, and I think, Damwon kind of scrapped some stuff out of this. He had a good kick through onto the Syndra, which allowed Nuclear to get. I forget which one of them got the kill. Oh, it was Canyon grabbed the kill, but helped set up with Nuclear, and then I don't know. At that point, Naguri had already blown his W. He doesn't have Zanya's quite yet, so he's not quite as annoying as a Vlad ends up being later in the game, and that's just. Like you said, over Igor by barrel, and this is kind of one of the weaknesses that people talk about with Damwon is their bot lane, and why people are a little bit concerned about them moving forward.
But
that was a pretty.
He's good enough to land a direct solar flare though, because a lot of Leonas are not doing that. He did it on to Jackula, doing on to Rookie. Like I've seen Leonas do that play, but miss everything, and at least he hit everything.
Yeah, it's a brain problem, not a hand problem there.
He did have the mechanics.
Yeah, it might have been better if he didn't, because if he didn't land the ult, his brain might not have told him to go in.
Yeah, it was for sure an aggressive play.
It's a thinker.
Yeah. Damwon's playing
G2.
G2, right?
Sixth quarterfinal.
It's really, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more, but like Perks is playing super well, and Mickey's gross, so like. That's, I think, the biggest concern for Damwon.
Good choice for me. Mickey's gross.
Mickey's gross.
Right.
He's good.
Yeah.
I think that.
He's very good. Yeah.
I think that in that matchup, there's going to be a pretty big bot gap for G2. But honestly, based on how Worlds has gone so far, I think that Jankos might have trouble with Canyon. I think that Canyon's been playing really well, and while Jankos, he's not playing bad by any means, but he's had a few int games. His Kiana has looked.
I would say he's been, for how much talk people got from him, he has not looked very good. He got obliterated in both the Day 2 Damwon games. He got obliterated in one of the C9 games.
The Griffin game.
Oh, yeah, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, both the Griffin games on Day 2. The one good one that he had against Griffin, like we talked about, no, that was the Elise.
Oh, yeah.
The Elise one, we talked about it in the previous ball review, how a lot of that was actually the solo laners impacting Tarzan's initial clear, and then Tarzan, when that didn't happen, you saw in the other games, totally took him apart. So like, I think Jankos is good. I'm not saying he's not, but like, I wouldn't want to just say he had a rough Day 2 because it also happened against C9 and stuff like that.
What makes it even rougher though is that in the Griffin match, they ran a salty run back. They took Griffin's comp and swapped jungle matchups, and he still got bodied in it. Lee into Kiana lost both sides.
Yeah, that wasn't a great day for Jankos, but that can happen. I still think he's a great player.
I think he's a great player. I'm just
these Korean junglers are just looking kind of on another level so far this tournament.
Sick. And I think Jankos is totally capable of having a great series and popping off, but that's the biggest. Whereas I think bot lane's the biggest mismatch in favor of G2. I think that might be the biggest in favor of Damwon. Because I'm not concerned about Wunder into Naguri. As much as Wunder's also struggled this tournament a little bit, I think he'll be okay.
I want to go back to what you were saying about the Korean junglers. Oh, this is a 1v1, 1-for-1. But you're saying that the Korean junglers look like they're on another level. Do you think that has to do with the champions these junglers choose to main? Because when you look at Korean jungle mains, it's Lee Sin, Talia, Elise, and these high mechanical champions. Whereas NA, it's Sejuani Jarvan.
I think it's easier to practice Lee Sin when you're not on 60 ping. I'll say
that. There we go. Back to the main.
That was actually a really sick try by the Shy where he puts his hammer form Q onto creeps and then hopes that he times it right so the guy comes out of puddle right when his Q damage actually lands. And he gets him with the AoE. I think he was either a moment fast or the Naguri was just out of range.
Yeah, he sidestepped it really well. Yeah. It was actually, I'd say, good play on both players.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool micro decision by the Shy that just didn't actually work out.
It hurts a lot though for him to die here, because they are getting stomped in the 4v4 without the top laners.
Yeah, I think it's.
I mean, it's a 3-0 Akali, 4-0 Kai'Sa. Like, they need Jace to be involved. If your guy that's ahead is trading, obviously it's, Naguri does a good job of outplaying it, but would you have rather kept pressure up in this lane while your team secures Baron control, or?
No, I think I want the only guy with the lead on my team to push that as much as he can. Because if he gets that kill, you start taking that turret, they have to send someone else potentially back, or they just have to worry about a recall TP power. And they have to see Baron control.
So then you have sustain on your trait patterns with Mirror Mana and the anti-heal now.
Well, you don't out-sustain the Vlad over extended trades. You don't have any healing. Oh.
Ooh, that's a big death. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that you both have points there. I think that the fact that the Shy died was a huge detriment to IG, and it gave Damwon a lot of time because when you're thinking about this situation, Jace should be able to, start taking turrets in front of Vladimir, and it's kind of the setup that IG wants. They want Jace deep splitting in that lane, and Damwon's going to be looking to try to force with their 4 and look for a Vlad TP. So, the more pressure Jace has on the turrets is going to kind of deter Vlad from TPing to the team fight. But as soon as you die, you have your death timer, and then the amount of time it takes to run back to the lane.
This is sick.
Well, yeah,
This is the best.
we'll go back in a moment. We'll check this out first. Ooh. Ooh. A bunch of abilities used, not really landing onto anyone important. The Shy held the TP. Oh, did he do that right on spawn?
Right on spawn.
Yeah? Okay.
Wow, so that was really good defense by IG there.
Yeah.
And that may have been misplay from Damwon to let that happen.
Akali
45.
TP's in, and then they start a fight. And get
Oh,
this.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And then that's a sick kick through again by Canyon.
Canyon's just so good.
Oh, the flash attempt. That was a sick stopwatch there by Balan.
How did the Shy die? Was that Red Buff?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, really interesting stuff by Damwon. After the initial death by the Shy, they did a really smart play. Basically, it's like shadowing a split pusher type play where they sent everyone bottom to kill him on the reset before he gets pressure and before he gets vision out on the bot side. And then they go top to try and force this play. I wonder what Damwon should have done different on the Baron, because I think from this position, you definitely don't want to 50-50 it, right? You're basically winning the game. It's still close, but I think going for a 50-50 is definitely wrong.
With Lee.
Right, and I would, well, you have Lee Sin, but if you're just trying to 50-50 with a Syndra Orianna sitting over the wall, it's not really a 50-50, because when the Shockwave and Cinder Burst comes down, you can probably kill it from like 2,000 HP if everyone bursts together.
Right, so they needed to find the turn, but they took a lot of poke damage, and like Ori used the ult proactively to chunk out Showmaker and stuff, which forced him back and had to teleport back in. I think both teams played this.
It was kind of sloppy because it is a weird place to start that Baron because you don't have the tools to really.
Well, you have
take it at that time.
Let's go back one more time, because I'm pretty sure does Leona have ult still, or did she use it in the bot lane? Because
I think she threw it over the wall, didn't she?
yeah, she throws it over the wall. So like the idea here, as far as I can tell, is we have a man advantage. Let's force a Baron, and when they come in, we'll turn. You have great turn tools. Like literally everyone gets over this wall easily without having to use ultimates or flashes. I mean.
So does Vlad have Flasher, or is it down?
I think Vlad doesn't have flash, so he's the one guy who can't get over the wall. But then this stun by Barrel, he starts getting chunked out. This ult comes through, they're getting chunked out. And now by the time,
You can't engage anymore.
yeah, and then he misses his E, misses his ult. So like they just really biffed the like turn attempt.
I'm
But
a little
they-
bit confused by what Nuguri's doing at this timing with his positioning, because
Yeah.
I would think that it would make sense for him to walk around and sort of like
Threaten the flank.
Yeah, threaten to flank them, through the river. But he's sitting in the Baron pit, which makes it seem like he's just trying to finish Baron or trying to kill anyone that comes into the pit. But IG is not going to come into the pit, so it seemed like they were not really on the same page there. It seemed a little chaotic.
Yeah, Barrel was obviously hugging the wall to try and go over, but the stun messed him up. And he procced his W really early for no reason. And so he didn't have the extra tankiness. And then IG going for the force here is fine, but I think that maybe you should be 50-50 in the Baron.
I can see now when it's slowed down, thank you Graham for doing that, why they turned, because Canyon actually found a way to sneak a Q onto the Baron at 2k. So they didn't want to risk him stealing it. So they're like, screw it, we need to turn, get a fight. The fight lasts long enough for him to get another Q, Akali gets in, and then by the time the fight starts, turns out they did not realize that Akali was there, so they get the steal.
Yeah, and then that's just a sick kick through by Canyon.
It's just pure outplays from this jungler.
Yeah, Damwon played that extremely well. Showmaker and Canyon both sort of just coordinating, getting behind the pit,
and saying let's focus Baron.
Yeah, and just recognizing that they could kill it from that much HP.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely didn't play the first half of this situation correctly, where they didn't get a clean turn at all, even though I like the idea. And then, like, they're lucky a little bit. I mean, they're pressured by Showmaker to run into nuclear that way.
It's a fat shutdown.
That's a really big shutdown. But it's a 4 for 5 at the end of all this.
Yeah, but I would say it's not an easy situation for either team.
No,
to really navigate, and there were some mistakes obviously from both sides, but definitely a cool sequence.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting that like some teams when they're contesting that Baron, they just kind of walk up and don't put any pressure down. But Rookie ulting early put some pressure on the Showmaker and chunked him a little bit. The Syndra stun landing on the barrel made it like, you know, it wasn't like IG just kind of walked forward and Damwon missed all their abilities. Like both teams were trying to pressure each other. So I don't know. That was a really cool sequence.
Yeah. So now Damwon's gonna have one Baron on Akali, which is enough to sort of like let you siege a bit without worrying about wave clear, but you are up against 2 control mages, which is twice as much wave clear as 1 control mage. So it still might be hard.
Good math.
But what about... No, you're still right. I was going to say if you 1-3-1, but...
So what would IG's win condition be at this point? It seems hard for them.
It seems pretty over because Damwon have a nice 1-3-1 comp and someone who's... You know, they probably have, at this point, 2 people strong enough to match the Shy. And then no one else wants to be in the side lane. Like, you don't want Syndra or Ori in the side lane versus either of Damwon's solo laners, so...
It's so weird though, 'cause
Yeah.
with these double control mages, like, do you have a late game? Like, what are you doing here? Is it just pure burst magic damage and then Jace can hopefully do something?
I would say the biggest thing IG has going for him is pretty good pick. You know, you've got Nautilus, Syndra, Ori.
Yeah. But
So-
then, who do you really lock down though? Because you got one tanky boy in Barrel, you got Vlad who you're not hitting, Canyon, who I can trust for him to get away, and then Akali with Shroud.
I mean, Canyon's pretty squishy. I think he has the most deaths on the team. I mean, not like Canyon's having a bad game, but just like, he is pretty squishy.
Yeah, he does have Tabby, and I'm imagine he has Legend Tenacity, but with the amount of CC you have from Syndra Nautilus, it's still probably enough to lock him down until you can kill him.
Yeah.
So he's at risk, and even though Barrel's tanky, if you CC him before he gets his W off or Aftershock, he will go down pretty quickly.
So
Yeah.
you need everybody on the same target here for
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely at best a 4-1 comp, or maybe even just once the Shy falls behind, just a 5v5 comp, trying to poke and land. Because they outrange them pretty heavily, right?
This is the end. Look, the Shy, the one carry, the one man.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Oh, Canyon. Trades 1-for-1, but he still has GA, and that's still a sick 1-for-1.
Yeah, that seemed like a bit of mispositioning on the Shy's part. I guess they didn't know where everyone was because he separated himself from his team and ended up walking into where Vlad and Lee Sin were camping.
Can we check that real quick one more time to see how Canyon gets there and what the vision was?
How
for...
Canyon gets there as well. I think both matter here.
I mean, this is pretty...
So
you see, they
they
saw him go
should-
left side.
Yeah, they should know that Vlad and Lee Sin are on top side.
Yeah.
I don't think they saw. They don't suspect Lee right now.
Well, they saw him exit top
And
side.
then they see him drop a pink.
Yeah, that could have been hard to catch, but
Yeah, this is just a mistake from the Shy splitting left, I think. I don't think he had to run into the jungle.
yeah, it looked like the Shy just kind of thought he was getting a jump onto Vlad, but with Lee Sin being there, obviously.
Do you think the others would have positioned the same way if they knew Lee Sin was there though? 'Cause I'm starting to think all of IG just didn't catch it.
I mean, I think they went in Operation Save the Shy as soon as they realized he was in trouble. Well, I mean, maybe they pinged it. We'll see if they ping it
Maybe
out.
the Shy was getting emotional against Naguri this game. He just saw him.
He's like, I must kill.
I'm killing this disrespectful
Yeah.
top laner.
We can,
So they for sure have vision on Lee Sin.
yeah.
Here they should just be saying, you know, if they really want to air him, they have to watch out for the engage. So they should be tracking Lee Sin, Vlad, Leona.
So now they know Vlad went that way. So they have not spotted Lee. And
Well,
only
they
catch the
still
control.
saw him exit topside, so they should know this is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, the Shy just makes a positioning mistake running left.
Yeah. So definitely pretty big mistake from the Shy.
I mean, this is what you were saying about Canyon, though, just being a really patient player, looking for the opportunity that the team will present.
Yeah, and nice little stack against the Vlad.
My favorite.
Didn't work out this time. Maybe next time will be better.
I love going into chokes versus Vladimir.
Yeah, and
So IG struggling.
looks like that might be the end.
Yeah, you think so? Give me your ending call. Meteos the caster.
Usually, the way I judge it is, I mean, obviously it depends a little bit on your champions and stuff, but if you're on the tier 3 with like over 20 seconds left, you can usually end.
That's your ending call?
I think I meant the caster ending call.
Oh, I thought you meant like in
Yeah.
game when you.
No, that
call
was
end
more
it.
insightful. I guess.
I'm not a caster.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't.
All right, so there we go. Damwon, like we said, going up against G2, and IG has Griffin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about those two matchups?
I think I like Griffin a lot.
Versus
And I had
IG?
G2 as the winning world, so I got to stick with that.
I think I'm just gonna vote for the LCK teams.
That's really safe.
It is really safe, but I mean, it seemed to be the case so far this tournament.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go.
Maybe GT though. I don't know. It's
I think
really hard to say.
G2 is the closer one of the two. I think IG. I think their weak points are too weak right now.
The strengths of Griffin are too strong, too.
Yeah, I think Griffin is super, super good. They're super controlled, and if they can't make solo plays happen in their solo lanes, I think Griffin will just kind of choke them out, and that's all they really need to do against IG, who kind of rely on, it feels like, big plays and 50-50s. The G2 matchup is the closer one, I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm really concerned about Damwon's bot lane.
Yeah, I think that Damwon's bot lane is going to struggle, and it's really just going to depend on how Damwon wants to play it, because they've kind of shown to favor top side more than bot side, and the way I see it going down is I'm not really sure how Caps versus Showmaker is going to be. I think it's going to be a really close matchup, but I'll say that I probably have to give the mid jungle synergy to Damwon, because Canyon and Showmaker, they're so good. They always play duo queue together. They're like top of solo queue. They play very well together, but I'm going to have to see how they use that pressure, because I think it's going to be hard for Caps to get an advantage against that duo. And if Damwon uses that pressure to sort of cover up their bot lane weakness, then I think it could be really hard for G2.
I think also the fact that Caps hasn't had like claps or craps. He's just been good. He hasn't been going for the crazy kind of play style he had before. I assume it's just because G2 are really good now, and they don't need to rely on him taking 50-50s quite as much as when he was on his time on Fnatic. So maybe he plays a more reserved playstyle versus Showmaker, and they rely on their bot lane a little bit more. And I still have some concerns about Sword. Wonder's also been a bit of a question mark, and Sword definitely had a lot better day too. But I'm still, I don't know.
Sword's not on Damwon though.
Oh, I'm tripping,
Sword is
dude.
Griffin.
Yeah, I got it mixed up again.
Naguri versus
Naguri,
Wonder.
yeah, Naguri versus Wonder is a much scarier proposition.
I feel like Naguri is just going to farm a lot. And Vlad is going to go through, because you just can't afford to ban Vlad in the first rotation, and you can take it that early.
You can maybe ban it on blue sides sometimes, I think. So maybe side selection becomes really important. But then I think the flexibility that they have with the Syndra pick, like kind of what happened there, but imagine if Perks actually can play Syndra.
If that was Perks, that bot lane would go
Yeah,
much differently.
super
'Cause
different.
honestly, in that first play where they lost that, fight where everyone was there, it was the one right after they got Kai'Sa's stopwatch and cleanse, and they were re-engaging the fight. Syndra missed a really crucial stun onto Kai'Sa, which if that landed, I'm pretty sure it would have just been a completely one fight for IG.
Yeah, there were a couple just in general laning skill shots that he was missing that I assume a veteran mage player would hit.
I mean, if you're at least in against a really good Syndra, you're never dashing on her. It's not possible. She will always save it and bop you off.
Yeah. So anyways, that's going to do it for this one. You're picking double LCK. I'm going G2.
I'm picking every LCK team except G2 and Fnatic.
I'm picking Griffin and G2 as well.
That should be so what semifinal matchups would you have? You would have Griffin versus FPX,
Yeah.
And G2 versus SKT.
Well, I picked Fnatic though over FPX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have Fnatic against.
I'm having 2 LCK in EU finals.
Ooh, China's done.
China's knocked out for me in quarters.
I'm having. Ooh, FPX Fnatic's hard. I don't know. I think it's gonna be.
You literally chose an answer to that in the last video, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
But no one remembers
It's
that, so he
close.
can change it now.
No. I'll stick with my answer. I thought FPX was gonna win. So I'm saying 3 LCK, 1 LPL.
Okay.
And I'm unbiased.
Yeah.
I think TL is going to take the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to TL this week.
Double it for the crown. Not a world.
All right, well that's it. 3 NA guys talking about not NA. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will.
2020 is our year.
Next, you know when our year is? Next year. It's always next year. So that's going to do it for us. I think we'll be doing more of these. I think we have one more day of us maybe doing this for semifinals. I don't know. We just show up here. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think, and maybe see you next time.